Hello TikTok world, my name is Harold Weeks and thank y'all for joining me here. This will be my first actual talking video that I've done on TikTok, so this is kind of like an introduction for me. I'm just a country boy that loves to paint. I do have a bad country accent. I apologize for that up front. I've had it my whole life and I ain't tried to get rid of it, so I'm gonna keep it. A lot of people say I'm country as a horse turd, and I agree. But I still do love to paint and I love to have fun. What I've got here tonight is a 16 by 20 canvas that's turned on landscape, and it is already covered with a very thin, even coat of Bob Ross liquid white. And these are my colors that I use tonight, or we're going to use tonight. Y'all have to forgive me, I'm nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Alright, starting from my right, I have titanium white, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, mountain mix, sap green, cad yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and the Evil Bright Red. And the reason I call it Evil Bright Red is a story all in itself that if y'all stick with me here on TikTok, I'm sure you'll hear one night. But since this is my first run on TikTok, I have 10-minute limits, and I'm going to try to do this painting in 10-minute segments, separate parts, and I will try to explain step by step what I'm doing. If you see anything I'm doing up here that confuses you or you don't understand, please ask in the comments. I'll be more than glad to help whoever I can. That's my whole purpose for doing this. The things I do may not be the proper way. They may not be the technical way, if you go to art school, the way they teach. But the things that I'm going to do on this channel are things that work for me, and I hope they work for you guys. So with that said, I'm going to jump right in. First thing I'm going to do is pick up a 2-inch brush. And I'm going to come right up here to my phthalo blue, and I'm just going to tap a little color right on my bristles. Just a little color, just tapping it straight in. And all I'm doing is trying to get a little color on these bristles. So I'm gonna load it up the same way. And see, it gives you a even coat of paint across your bristles. Then we'll come right up, and I'm gonna start in my corner with little X strokes. And then I'm gonna go to this corner with little X strokes. And the reason I started in the corners is because you always want your corners darker on a paint. That way it pulls your eye to the center. So that said, I'm going to come back across with the X strokes. I'm just going to come all the way across, start working my way down. And I'm just doing little small X strokes here. That's all I'm doing. And as you can see, when that color gets up here, it goes to mixing with that liquid white. And when it does that, it gets lighter and lighter. And you want your color to be lighter down here toward the horizon, which I'm going to bring that horizon down to about right there, and then I'll stop it. Alright, and sometimes you get these big long hairs like that. Oh, I thought my brushes were trained better than that. Alright, now what you want to do when you do your sky is you want to try to leave yourself some dark spots and light spots in it. And if you see to where, around in the middle you don't have a lot of dark, you can always come back down here, pick you up just a little more paint, and just come up here and put you in a couple more little dark spots. They don't have to be nothing real fancy, just add you a couple little dark spots here and there just to make you like you got some life up there, some movement. Alright, now I'm going to come right back into the paint, same color, using it the same way, tapping it right on the brush. Now we do have a little liquid white on our brush now, but that's not a problem. Now we're going to come right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to bring this brush in straight across. Just like so. Just straight across. And this is if we decide to put water in this paint. It'll already be here. And if it's going to be water, it'll be still water. And still water lays flat. So just pull you in a little bit. Across just like so. Load your brush up one more time. Same color, same way. We'll come on this side. Hope y'all can see this side. And we'll pull it in. All right, need a little bit more paint. Because you want it darker at the bottom and in the corners as well. And then coming in from the side, just like we did on the other side, we'll just pull us in some color. And see, here it came dark to light toward the horizon, from dark to light going up, dark to light coming down. Now, I use the term knock it out, knock the brush out, knock the color out. And when I say that, all I'm saying is with a paper towel, I take just a clean paper towel and I come up here and I just rub the paper towel on it as best I can to rub out as much paint as I can and knock a good bit of this paint out, because you don't want your brush contaminated for when we come up here to do our next step. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to work from the light spot up. That way we don't come up here and grab this dark paint and bring it down. So I'm just going to take my brush and I'm just going to very lightly blend across that sky that we just made. Just very lightly. Now, see how the corners look like a little ball or whatever hanging up here? We're just going to take that and we're just going to fan it out. We're going to leave it dark, but we're going to kind of fan it out so it just don't look like a dark blob of paint sitting up here. And then just blend it in, just like so. And then we'll come from we're going to knock some more paint out of the brush. That's the first thing we need to do. And then we will come from here and start working down, just like we did up top. Now if you do this light enough and you do it right, that little white space that we left in our canvas right here will look like a little sheen of light coming across the water. If you don't get that sometimes, don't worry about it. I mean, a lot of times it gets covered up. A lot of times it may not, but when it does work, it's a good part of the illusion. I'm gonna hang on to this brush. I'm not gonna do anything with it just yet. Okay, now we have a sky and we have some water. Now the next thing to do would be put some clouds in, and when it comes to clouds, there is so many different ways to do clouds. Since this is my first painting, I think what we'll do first, I'll show you one of the easiest ways there is to do clouds in an oil painting. Oh, and this is oil painting, by the way, wet on wet. Alright, with my palette, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pull some white paint with a 1-inch brush. Just pull some white paint down, tap it right in the bristles, just like so. That's all I did. And it loads that brush up. And if you don't have enough paint, you can always put a little more on. And you say, well, how do I know if I got enough? Well, until you come up here and go to painting with it, you really don't. So, alright, but what I do is I take the top of that brush, and when I say the top, I mean the point that's up here. You could call it a corner or whatever you want to call it. But you just take it and come up here and just tap. Just tap. That's all I'm doing. See that? Just tapping. Then I'll come back and get a little more. Try to load up that corner. Oh, and I have birds. And if they get too much out of hand, I will stop the video and wait for them to calm down before I start it back. Because they can get pretty loud. Especially when they want to be heard. And they can get worse. Alright, just like that, I'm just coming up here, just tapping me some white paint on. Just making a cloud. When you know it, my first night here, they're going to go to acting up. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Just to put a little color up here. Then I'll pick up my 2-inch brush that's got my blue on it. And we'll come up and just lightly blend out the bottom. Being real careful not to touch the top. Don't want to touch the top, just the bottom. On both clouds. Just like so. And then real lightly, I want to come through here and just kind of fluff it up. Just pulling up from the bottom, making a circular stroke. That's all I'm doing. Kind of like a backwards C almost. And then knock some more paint out of the brush. And I am fixing that to stop the video when I get done with these clouds. Because they're getting loud. And then you just lightly blend over that. Just real lightly. Real lightly. Just like so. And it just sets those clouds right down into the sky. So soft. Just like they're lingering in the sky. Just floating around. Alright, so since they're clowning and don't look like they're going to hush no time soon, I will stop the video. Well, they're kind of calming down a little bit. Okay. Alright. I don't know how far I am in my 10 minutes, but while we got some time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick up a little more white. And right here, where you can see this color blended out, you come right back under it and come up here and lightly tap under that, leaving a little of that color showing in between that cloud and this cloud that you're putting on now. See? Just by leaving a little of that color, you can make it look like two clouds sitting there, one in front of the other. Then we're going to come back up, blend the bottom out again, just like we did, in little circles. And then come up. We're going to fluff it up, just like we did the other one. And very lightly come across. And just like that, we have what I think is an effective sky. I think it's enough that we can call this part 1 of the video. So, with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed part 1. And in part 2, I'll do a mountain. Hello, Tiki Taki World. If you're watching this, that means you made it to part 2. And if you missed part 1, I'm Harold, and we are painting a simple little mountain scene. And we're going to start right now on part 2, doing a mountain. And what I'm going to do is, I got my palette knife. I'm going to come right here in my color, This is mountain mix. I'm gonna pull it down as flat as I can get it. And I'm gonna get just a roll of paint on my knife. And I'm gonna come over here, say this is half of the canvas. I'm gonna come to the left of half. And I'm just gonna start right here with just a little mountain peak. And just kind of pull it down. And whenever you start doing these mountains, your important thing starting out is always your outside line. You want to make sure you got a clean outside line. That's your main objective. What's happening in the body of this mountain right now is not important at all. You just want a clean outside line. And I won't keep repeating it, y'all heard me. Alright. Since this is going to be a simple painting, we won't do a real complex mountain today. But we're just going to take this one and bring it over. Let him join right into this one. And then come out of it. Bring it over. Like so. And we'll put one more peak in. Just about right in here somewhere. Just to join it up with the rest. Now, some of the things you want to avoid when making mountains is try your best not to have 3 or 4 peaks up here that look like upside down ice cream cones, you know, where they all look like teepees. Kind of give your mountain some shape, what I like to call bumps and bruises. You know, give them a little character to make them kind of look like mountains. And then once you get that part done, you can come and clean your knife off. And all I use is just a paper towel to clean my knife off. Nothing special. Then I come in here and get as close to that line as you can and start scraping that paint out. And you can hear how hard I'm scraping here. It's pretty, I'm pretty serious. I'm trying to get this paint off. You can hear it. And to me, that's one of the best sounds there is in painting right there. I love that sound. Just like so. Now you can pick you up a 1 inch or a 2 inch brush for this next step. That's entirely up to you. If you're not comfortable using a 2 inch, by all means pick you up a 1 inch. But either brush you use, all you got to do is lay that brush flat up here. When you come up here, lay it flat. And you can kind of wiggle it over to your outside line and get as close to it as you can. And just start pulling that color down and out. See? By wiggling and laying it flat, you can see where your bristles are. And then you can just come in here and move that color out. Just keep in mind when you do this, you're picking up color on your brush. So you'll want to knock some of that paint out on your paper towel while you're doing this. And then you just want to do the same on every part of your mountain up here. Just come in here and pull that color down and out. And just let it, just like so. And then sometimes when you're doing this step, you can almost see the layout of your mountain taking place. Now, it don't work every time, but sometimes it does. Just like so. Just pull this paint out. And when you get it pulled out, it's just going to make it look like that mountain just sitting back here floating in space. It'll just make it look like it's just sitting there floating. Just like so. Then knock your brush out again. And we'll drop it in the thinner. Then we're going to pick our knife up again. Now my white paint has got contaminated with a little of the blue. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take that that paint that's already contaminated with that blue, I'm just going to scrape it off my board, and I'm going to bring it up here, because I'm going to use that for my shadow color here in a second. And then I'm going to grab my white, and I'm going to put out just a little bit of clean white. That way it's not contaminated. Now, when I get enough subscribers or followers that I can start doing live, when I start painting live, I'll have about 2 piles of white. I'll have 1 pile that can get contaminated and 1 pile that I don't want contaminated. But I'm not quite to 1,000 yet, so. Now I also paint on YouTube. My YouTube channel is at Painting with Harold, and I'm needing 1,000 subscribers there by October, but I'm falling short right now. I'm at 650 something. So if y'all want to, go check me out over there. I got full length, step-by-step instructions. That's at Painting with Harold at YouTube. Alright, pulling white out flat as I can get it. I'm going to come in here, grab me a little roll of white. And every time I load this knife up, I'm going to load it the same way. So I may not keep showing you that, because I'm already 6 minutes into this mountain. Alright, I'm going to come right up here. This is one of the hardest parts people have. Alright, just come up here and just start barely touching this canvas with this paint. Just barely touching it across here. And just barely pull. That's all you got to do. See? And that paint is so thick that it'll break for you. You just don't have to try real hard to get this to work. Just relax your hand, barely hold that knife, fight the temptation of putting your finger back here, and just loosely hold that knife, and the paint will work for you. It's so thick that it's actually all that's touching the canvas. Your knife's never really touching. So, but just like that, you get that paint to break. And keeping it pulled flat before you load your knife is a very, very, very big part of this. So if you're looking for secrets, that's not a secret, it's just a very good tip. And just like so, just follow that angle and little pulls all the way down. That's all I'm doing. Just barely touching that canvas and just letting that paint pull right off. It's almost like you're a sculptor sculpting your mountain. Alright, I may have to speed it just a hair. Alright, I'm 8 minutes in. I hate to come back for part 3 still doing the same mountain. Alright, I tell you what I'll do. When I get close to 10, I'll stop it, and I will I'll finish doing these, because all I'm going to be doing is the same thing on this one, and in the next 10 minutes we'll put shade on. Alright, so I'm 9 in right now. I'm going to do the same thing right here that I did here, then I'll turn it back on. In the next 10 minutes we'll make some shadow and start on that. Okay, welcome back to part 3. I finished this side just like I told you, did it the same way. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I got that color up here, the rest of my white, and all that white that was contaminated. I'm going to grab just a little bit of the blue and bring up here, and then I'm going to grab just a little of the Mountain Mix color itself, and I'm going to mix these colors right here. And all I'm looking for is like a grayish blue color, and I'm not going to mix them thoroughly. I'm going to leave a marble mix just like that, and that's the color we're going to use for our shadow. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and just like everywhere else, I'm going to pull this color down flat. Only difference this time is I'm going to be loading up my little corner of my knife And I got just a little small roll out here on it. Right here on the tip of this one. Alright, I'm going to come in right under this color. I'm going to come up here and touch that color. And then I'm going to lightly start following my outside line over to my other mount. See how I did that? Touch this color. And come over here and just start pulling out and down. You want to kind of keep your angles opposite of the angles that you had on your highlights. And just pull this color right down till you get to your white. Now if you touch that white, do not panic. It's fixable. Thing about oil painting, if you make a happy accident or mistake, whatever it is you want to call it, it's fixable. We can go back and fix it. Alright, then we'll come right over here and we'll do the same thing to our next one. Now you don't have to do it the same way I do it, it's just what works for me. But I always like to follow my outside line first. That way I know I got it done and out of the way. And I just lightly pull that color down. I don't try to, like I'm icing a cake. I just very lightly pull it down. Because if you can get this paint to break over here with this little edge of the knife and show some of that dark color under it, well, that just makes the whole thing look better. And if you pull it light enough, it will. And just remember, it don't take near as much shadow color as it does highlight color, because you have got so much dark already down as your base. And then I'll come right up here, touch that color, come out, follow my outside line, real light, and just let that color break where it can and where it wants to. And then the same thing here, just start pulling it in the opposite direction of my highlights. And at any point up here, if you get outside your line, your mountain's going to grow on you. But even at that, it's nothing you can't fix. See? Just come back up here, grab a little of it, and pull it down. And just like that, it's fixed. Because I had a little line outside of my color there. Alright, and we'll come right up here. We'll go right under that white, pull it out. Again. And we'll do that all the way to the bottom. And then we'll just start lightly pulling this color out. Just like so. Now I know it may sound like I'm pulling hard, but I'm not. I'm pulling light, I'm just pulling faster. Trying to get it done before I run out of time again. Alright, about like so. We have us some mountains. Now we will take us a clean, dry, you can use a 1-inch or 2-inch brush for this step right here. Alright, we're doing good so far. We're 5 minutes in. Okay, this touch right here, it's very, very light of a touch. The way your paint's coming down is the way you want to go back up your mountain. And just very lightly tap this bottom color. You don't have to go far up into the mountain. Just follow the same way it's coming down, just ease back it up, just back up the same way. And just lightly tap. Just diffuse the bottom. Don't destroy it. Just lightly tap. That's all we're doing. See, it's just a very light tap. Very light. And then you can knock some of that color out. And then very lightly come back over here with your brush laid flat and just pull up. Just a little. Don't come up real high and pull paint all the way up and back out of your mountain. Just pull it up, just a little. Very little, just like so. Very lightly. And then you can come across here, brush your tap marks out. And what that does, if the camera shows it, is it makes it look like you've got a fine layer of mist down here that you can still see through and see the base of your mountain. And that's what you wanna, that's what you're going for. And it's just an illusion. That's all any of this is, it's an illusion. Alright, I'm gonna do the same thing to this side. And the reason I wait before I come over here and do this side is because that side's all white paint, this side's all that, them three colors we got mixed, and I didn't want to get them all mixed up on my brush. But just like so, do the same thing, just lightly tap, and then very lightly come in here and pull straight back up into the mountain. The same direction that it comes down is the same direction you want to go back up. And then you can just lightly knock those brush marks out. Alright. We'll call it, okay, we got almost 2 minutes. So, let's see. What can I tell you in 2 minutes? Okay. In the next part, we'll come across here with some trees and put reflection in the water. So, if y'all have enjoyed what you've seen so far, come back for what'll be part 4, I think. Alright, hope to see you at 4. Alright, welcome back to part 4. We're going to get ready to do some trees. And what I'm doing, I pulled all my mountain color up here. I'm going to bring over just a little bit of white, just to tone this color down some. Not much, just a little. About like so. And then we'll still about half that color and bring it over here. Then we'll pick up some sap green and bring up here and put in it like so. And then I'm going to mix all these colors together. I'm just going to pull the sap green and mountain mix together right there. Like so. Then I'll clean off my knife. And then I'm going to mix get a little more white. And I'm going to mix these colors right here. Okay? Now, show you how I'm going to load my brush for this process. I'm going to pick up a 1-inch brush. Now we'll be loading the brush the same way through this whole process. So, with just the corner of the brush, I'm going to come in here and get an angle where you can see it. And I'm just going to tap some paint in that corner and pull it. Just like that. See how I'm doing that? Just the corner is all I'm loading up. See? Well, let me get this put down where you can see it. But you can see where the paint's at in this brush. It's just right up there on that top corner. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm fixing to come up here and I'm going to start along the bottom of my mountain here. Leave just some of the smith showing. And I'm going to come up here with this 1-inch brush and I'm just going to do it the same way that I just loaded it. Just pull it. See? Can you see how I'm doing that? I'm just putting it on there and pulling it. Just pulling it straight down. And all that's doing is just making it look like thousands of trees back here. And I'm going up in places to where they're not all straight line across. but you got to keep them straight. Because if they're not straight, they're going to look like they're laid over back here, like you got a strong wind blowing, and it's got them blowed over. So just kind of make sure you keep them straight as you can, and just like so, just pull them across. That's all you got to do, just like that. All right, then I'm going to take a clean paper towel, knock some of that color out, and then very lightly come up here at the bottom and go to just barely pulling them up, and it'll give them a sharp point on tops, kind of make them resemble evergreens as far off in the distance. Knock some more paint out, come up here at the bottom and just tap across the bottom real lightly. And that'll put a layer of mist down here at the bottom, just like so. And I got a bristle coming out of my brush. Guess I might put some more conditioner on me. Alright, just like so. And then come back again and lightly pull that little reflection up, or that little mist, blend out the bottom, just like so. You can see it looks like they're sitting back there in mist now. Now the green color with the mountain mix we just made, we're going to take the same brush and we're going to load it the same way. Same way we just loaded that brush. Now this color will be darker. We're going to come in and under this, and we're going to stay just under that mist in places so you can see it. And that mist will be a separator between the darker color and the light color, which will push these trees further back. So with that said, we're going to come over here and just start right in here, pulling this color down. And see, since they are a little closer, you can start seeing some of the color in them. Now we don't have to see a lot of the color, but it's good to see some of the color because they're getting closer to us. See how they have that kind of green, they kind of got a greenish black look to them. Then you can come back in just a couple places and add it a little more darker color, and it'll give it a whole new look, just like so. And just kind of pull them down across here, kind of make them look kind of even at the bottom, just like so. That's all you got to do. Alright, now, I'm not going to wash this 1-inch brush just yet. I'm going to hang on to it. Now I'm going to come up here, I'm going to take a 2-inch brush, and let me show you what I'm going to do real quick. With this 2-inch brush, I'm just going to take it like you just lay it kind of flat and just tap it into the color. Don't want a lot of color on the brush, just a little. Because what this is fixing to do is we're going to come back across here now, and we're just going to lightly pull down across here. We're just going to barely drag this down in as straight a line as we can, and pull these down as straight as you can. Pull them down as straight as you can get them. And this is going to be instant reflections in this water. Just instant reflection. Just like so. And then knock out as much of that color as you can. And then come back up here at that line. And you may have to kind of tilt your brush toward the canvas because you don't want to leave it laying flat and drag this color across where there ain't no trees. So, I mean, if you want to start down here, you can. But just barely at that line, just barely pull that brush across here. Just like so. Just like that. And it'll give you the illusion of reflections in the water. Now I'll wash that brush. Now, I'm going to take my white. It's got a little of the mountain mix in it, which is kind of gray. Let me show you. They kind of grade it down a little, right there, and that's fine. Because you don't really need a real bright. We're fixing to make a water line. So you pull it out flat, and then pull that knife across and get you a water line. And when you do that, it puts the paint on top of your knife. Then come right back over here, keep this knife as straight as you can. Just like so. And come across. Give yourself a little water line. And then you can come get you some more paint. If you want, come right out here in your water. And give yourself a couple little ripple effects. Just like so. And how far does that put us into this? Alright, our 10 minutes is almost up again. So our next step is going to be closing everything in. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. Aside from mixing the colors, I'm just going to come in here and do one side. I'll probably do that side first. Come in here and do that side. And then stop and then come in and do this side. And then we'll finish the foreground. And that'll finish our painting up. Alright, so see you in part 5. Okay, welcome back. All I've done, since the camera was off, is I took some Van Dyke Brown and some dark sienna, brought it over here and added it to that mountain mixing green color that we had, that we did these trees with. That's all I did. Now, with that same 1-inch brush that we had doing that, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to tap straight into my paint. Just like so, straight down into it. Kind of hard, because what I'm trying to do is open them bristles. See how the bristles are opened up? And that's what you want for this step. Alright. I'm going to come right over here, and I'll start about right here. I want to be darker down here. So I'm just going to come across here. And I'm just tapping. That's all I'm doing. Just tapping up. Just like so. I'm giving myself a little tree shape. That's all I'm doing. Just making a tree out here. Just something that resembles a tree. I'm going to stay out of that cloud. Alright. And I'm going to come back in. Now I'm not going to come all the way down because, well, we're going to do something different in the foreground. We'll get to that in a second. But across here, I'm just going to come in here and just tap. And I want some of these to be a little taller, because bushes don't all grow at the same height. Right, about like that. That's all we're looking for. And then, while we got that there, I'm going to pick up my script liner brush, which is just a longer bristle brush that you use for that kind of stuff. I'm going to go in the same color. After I dip it in thinner, get it good and thin, get the paint good and thin, and you bring it out at a real sharp point, and come up here and just give yourself the indication of a little tree trunk in here. And you can come up and give yourself some branches. And wiggle your hand. That helps. If you can kind of wiggle that hand, make them branches have some movement in them. Don't have them all straight. Alright, we want that to just kind of disappear right there. Now that's all you really got to do as far as bristles, as far as branches. You can come over here and add you a few just indications. Chances are these won't even be seen, but you can give some indication just in case they are. And then we'll clean that script liner brush. Now I don't know if you have one of these brushes or not, but if you don't, look into getting you one. This is called the oval brush. It's a 1-inch oval, and it's the one that's got the black handle, and it's just like a big filbert. So if you don't have this, you can use a 1-inch, just you just have to use the tip of it, the corner of it. All right, I'm gonna come over here and get just a drop of thinner on that brush, and let me show you how I'm gonna load it. Okay, I'm gonna come right in here to my canned yellow, and I'm just gonna pull that yellow down a little bit, just like so. And there's a little thinner on here, but it don't feel like it's enough, because it don't take much. You can very easily overdo it on the thinner. All right, come right over here in my yellow and pull it down. Then we'll get just a touch of green and put in it. And pull these colors just like so. I'm pulling them right through, loading that brush up. And then I'm going to lay that brush down and push up. See how I'm doing that? Just pushing up. And it creates a little ridge of paint right there. Well, that little ridge of paint's on that brush now. And every time I load it, that's how I'm going to load it. Just like you just seen. Then I'm going to come right up here. And I'm just going to start tapping on a little color. Just like so. This is a very light touch. A very light touch. You don't want to drag this brush. You just want to. And if you have to do this hard, come back and put you a little more thinner up there. Because you do not want to have to do this hard. If you have to touch this hard, then you don't have enough thinner or liquid white. You can use either. Or if you've got, you know, a painting medium that you like to use, the other thing you paint, you can use that as well. You just need it to be thinner, because in this technique, a thin paint sticks to a thick paint. I hope I said that right. Thin paint sticks to a thick paint. And you just come up here and give yourself some tree shapes. You know, keep in mind that you're building a tree here. And leave yourself some dark, because all your dark colors are actually your backside of the tree, where you're seeing through. And just give yourself some dark colors up here, and just the indication of some trees and some leaves. And in places, cover your trunk and cover your branches and leave some of them exposed if you can. And if you can't, nobody's going to call the tree police on you. So you're not going to get in trouble. Alright, just like that, we'll say we got us a tree. Alright, now I'm going to put just a little bit more thinner on this brush. Leave them same colors in it. I'm going to come right down here and I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre with the same colors in this brush. I'm going to tap yellow ochre on here and I'm going to load it the same way. Push it up, get that little ridge of paint, and just make sure them bristles are open. Now anytime you're doing trees or bushes, one thing to remember, always give yourself a color change in here. Because if you bring this down and you're still doing the same color down here, when you get into this, it's not going to change. It's going to all stay the same. So you won't be able to see where your colors changed at. While we're using this color, I'll come over here and maybe give him a little of it. Just like so. Alright, now I'm not coming all the way down. I want to leave some dark color up here. You gotta have that dark color. I'm going to go up here now and I'm going to grab just a little bit of the alizarin crimson color, and I'll bring it down here. And it don't take much. Just a little color change is all we're looking for. See that? That's all we're looking for. Just a little color change. Leaving yourself some darks. We'll come right next door and get some of the Indian yellow. Same colors. Just steady loading this brush with the same colors. See that Indian yellow kind of oranged it up a little bit. And with this light touch, you just come up here and do the same thing. Just do some little bush indications, just like so. And we'll come over here and get us some of the bright red now. We'll come right out here on the end and we'll give ourselves some little firecrackers. Look at that. Oof. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That color just showed out. But make sure you leave yourself some dark. You always got to leave that dark. And you may get sick of hearing that, but it's true. I mean, you got to have dark. All right, I'll go ahead and wash that brush. And we will say that side is complete. Next, we'll do this side. Alright, welcome back. Now we're going to finish this other side. And we're going to take the same brush we had, same paint we had, load it the same way. That's all we're going to do. Just tapping right into that dark color. Load this brush the same way. Alright. I'm going to start the same way over here. I'm just going to start right here. Give myself some dark color. Come over here and cover up some of these trees. Just kind of up here, and I'm not going to go all the way up into the clouds on this side either. Maybe just at the base of them. Well, just maybe a little into them. That way it'll give them a little indication of height. And just like so. Keeping that tree shape. Come down. Come across here. Start working this color down and over toward the other color. And I'm going to leave a little gap right there between them. Just like so. And that's all we got to do. Now while we're here, what I am going to do is I'm going to pick up the rest of this dark color. Just rubbing the brush through it. No particular way now. But I'm going to come back up here now and I'm going to tap this color. Just like so. I'm just going to tap it in here. And fill this whole bottom in with this dark color. Just like so. Just tapping this color on. That's all I'm doing. We'll do that on both sides. Just tapping it on. Just like so. And I've got a couple little naps in here that I don't know where they came from, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them off right quick. And to do that, you just take the corner of your brush and just come up here and just lightly pick them up. That's all you got to do with that brush. And it'll take off every one of them. And you do that same thing with hair or with bristles. You just flick them right off. And sometimes they want to be stubborn, and you have to get stubborn with them. But eventually you will win if you don't give up. I do not know where all of these come from because I made sure my palette was clean. Alright, just like so. Now, I'm done with this brush, so I'm going to drop it in the thinner. But I am going to go back. I did clean while I was on break, or that little break, I did clean my oval brush. So I'm going to get back in the thinner again. And this time, we're going to be loading it the same identical way. I'm just going to load it different colors. I'm going to come up here and pick up a little of my titanium white. And I'm going to bring it down here into my Indian yellow. Because this is a very bright, what I like to call a sunshine color. Just get some white and Indian yellow. It's the only two colors I'm working with right now. Tapping them the same way we did earlier. And pushing up, getting that little ridge of paint. just to make sure them bristles are good and open. That's the trick. The bristles have to be open. Uh-oh. I'm about to put the horse in front of the cart, or the cart in front of the horse. Let me get some thinner on my scrap liner brush. And come up here in my color. Because we got to put us a trunk in here. And we'll do us a quick little trunk. Ain't gonna be nothing real special. Don't even really know how much of it's gonna show. But we'll put one in here because we need the indication in case it does show. Just like so. Alright. Sorry about that. Alright, now I got my 1-inch brush loaded with the Indian yellow and the white. And since it's out here in this bright open sunlight, we want us a good bright color up here. So that's what we'll start with. We'll let this color sit out here and get all this sunshine on it. Now as we start coming down, it's going to go to picking that color up. And if we get behind this mountain and it goes to getting a little darker on us, well, that's not a bad thing. That just means that the sun's not hitting it as bright. And that'll look like it's kind of getting shadowed. And that's not a bad thing. That's just one of them things that happen, and you work with it. You just kind of let it happen. See how it's getting darker in here? Well, we're not gonna even fight that. We're just gonna roll. Because that'll make it look so much more natural. Just keep in mind that you don't want to kill all your dark, and you want to keep your tree shape going. You know, make sure you keep you a decent looking little tree shape. And then the further you come down, the darker it gets. Well, like I said, it just looks natural. Right here, I can see I pull my brush just a little bit. So I'm going to come back up here and just tap that little area and fix that. Just like so. Alright, then I'm going to come over here into my yellow ochre again. Since it's a little darker, and we already back here in this shadow, I'm going to come in here, load it the same way. Just straight yellow ochre with that same color that was on there. And come in here, and you can see how we picked up this color change. And you always need a color change, always. And we'll just bring it around in here and give ourselves the indication of a little bush shape right here. Not like so. And we'll drop over here and get us some of the crimson. Bring it over here and tap it on. And we'll come right under it with that crimson. And leaving ourselves some darks, just like so. Just keep these in just little bush shapes if you can. That's all you got to do. All right, then we'll come over here. Grab some of the cad yellow, bring over here, and maybe this will kind of orange it up for us some. Just anything to change the color. Little subtle color changes mean so much. Alright. Yep, it did do a little orange. We'll come in here and add a little of this color now. Just like so. And then we'll come over here and we'll get us some bright red and finish it out. And we'll put us another little firecracker right out here. Just like so. Just like that. Now, I'm going to pick up a 2-inch brush. I'm going to carry it right over into the thinner. I'm going to get just a little thinner on it. Let me show you how we're going to load this. Let me see where my time's at. Uh-oh. Alright. Sorry about that. This is the final part. I was getting close and didn't realize it in that last part. So, alright. Got some thinner on the brush. I'm going to come right here in my yellow. I'm going to pull it straight down. Just like so. I'm going to tap my brush right into it. Just like that. See how I'm doing that? Basically the same way we was doing that other brush. And then we're just going to lay it down and push it up. And we're going to get that little ridge of paint. See it right here? And we're fixing to come up here and do what I call soft tappy grass. I don't know the technical name for it, but that's what I call it. But anyway, I'm going to come right over here. I'll start on this side. Now right under these bushes, I'm going to leave a little of the dark color. I'm going to come up here and I just want to start tapping across here. Just slightly tapping. And leave a little line of dark under them. Because you always need that dark. And then I'll come on the same side, the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm just going to start coming down. Just come across here. And you can see as you're tapping this, it's picking up that green and other colors that's in it, turning it green, and it just takes on that grass look. Well, this is a very light touch. And you want to make sure you got enough paint on your brush, and in that little ridge shape to where it comes off. And that's what gives you this real soft appearing grass right here that just looks so soft. Like you could run across it with no shoes on and barefooted and just feel that grass on your feet in the summertime. Or it'd be better to do it in the fall or the spring, because summertime you don't get snake bit. Alright, now, see this little spot right here? Alright, what I do when I get to a spot like that is I'll put that down and I'll pick up just a little small flat brush. That's all this is. And I'll come into the thinner. You always gotta use a little thinner because this paint's thick. Thin this color down just a little bit. Load this brush up basically the same way as best you can. Get a little of this color on that little brush and come up here and just tap. And then when you get over here to the side, just kind of pull it around. See? And just tap across here. And you can tap that all the way as far as you want to, out to the sides like this. Because we can take a 1-inch brush here in a minute if we have to, and we can come back in here and clean this up. But just tap it and let it get narrow as you go down, and it just looks like a little spot that's going off into the water. Like you could just leave this little path right here and walk down into the water, or walk down to the water, and just come in here with your big brush now and clean it up. Just softly tap it, just like so. Clean everything back up. Alright, just like so. And then you can take your fan brush now, and I'm just going to use a number 6 fan brush, just like, well, that's a number, just like this. Put a little thinner on it again. I'm going to come up here into this yellow ochre and my cad yellow and my Indian yellow, just all these colors. And I'm just going to drag this brush across, sap green, just all of the colors we've been using, and just mix them on this fan brush, just pulling it through. And then I'm going to come right up here at the top of this line of where we got that dark color, and I'm just going to place that brush straight in and just barely push up along here in places. And I'm not going to do it all the way down. I'm just going to do it in a couple places, just to give it the indication of some little tall grass that may be sticking up down here. See, just here and there. You don't want to have to do it all the way down. Just do it in a couple places, and it'll be as effective as you need it. Then you pick your knife up to finish the painting with. Come up here, give yourself the indication of some little sticks and twigs here and there. And it'll just look like little sticks and twigs. Alright, then pick your script liner up one more time. For the last time, I hope. If I didn't forget nothing. And I'm going to come right over here in my red. Get it good and thin. Then I'll come right up here. And I'm going to put my mark. And just like that, that painting is ready for a frame and a wall. And I really hope y'all enjoyed painting this along with me. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. It's a very simple painting. Anybody can paint this if you can hold a brush. There's no difficult steps in it at all. But now if y'all like this, give me a follow. When I get to 1,000, if we get live figured out, I'll do some live, and we'll do some more complicated paintings, and we'll get our skills sharpened up a little bit. We'll do stuff that's, a little tougher, a little more skill level. And if you want to watch me on YouTube, I would really appreciate if you go to YouTube, and I can't tell you how much I would appreciate it. Just go over there and subscribe, whether you watch the videos or not. I got to get it to 1,000, and I got to get my TikTok to 1,000. And I mean, this is just something I love doing, and I hope it helps somebody. I really do. And if you got any comments, good or bad, just leave them. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I'm gonna paint whether you like it or not. You may hate this, and if you do, well, I'm sorry. But I'm still going to paint. So, I know how the internet is. There's a whole bunch of keyboard warriors out there. But if you will, just share it, comment, like it, dislike it, whatever you want to do, however just be honest with your feelings. Because this channel will be honest with you. I'm going to keep it as honest as I can. I'm not going to go and edit mistakes. Everything you've seen me do right here was live, as live can be. I did make a couple of mistakes. I had to go back and fix them. Hey, I'm human. But anyway, with that said, I want to thank everybody so much for joining me in this first little TikTok adventure. Now I've got a lot of time-lapse videos on there and videos that I do with my phone, but this is my first actual painting and talking video for TikTok. So I really hope y'all enjoy it. Don't hold my accent against me. Like I said, I've had it for 50 some odd years. And I think I'll have it the rest of my life. But thank y'all very much for joining me. And I really enjoyed being here. And I really hope y'all like it. Thank y'all very much. I love you guys. God loves you more. Have a blessed night.